Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome to Crossing the Line. To my right, I have Matthew Entrekin. To my left, I have Sergio Cano. Let's get down. The first question we're going to address today is, are the Browns going to be overrated going to next season? I'll go to Matt.
Yes, the Browns are heavily overrated. The Browns opened up today at 15-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. That is fifth best in the NFL. You really trying to tell me Browns got the fifth best chance to win the Super Bowl?
No, Brian.
Definitely not. Yeah, no. There's no way. I think the Browns have the fifth best chance to win the Super Bowl. OBJ went over there, and that's a good addition to the team. But I just don't think that they are the fifth best team. There's plenty of way better teams out there. You look at any of the teams, the Rams last year. Anyway, I don't know. What do you think, Serge?
Honestly, yeah, I think they're a tad bit overrated just because, they got Kareem Hunt and they got OBJ, Baker Mayfield. But, it could be a little bit of dysfunctional team, so I think there is a lot better teams out there and some sleeper teams that honestly have a way better chance than the Browns. But, it'll be exciting to see what they got to offer, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that if we learn anything from teams in the NBA who bring star players together like the Celtics, we all thought that they were going to be a much greater team with the addition of Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. Those guys. And the Browns have great pieces coming together, but are those pieces going to fit?
Right.
Are they going to have chemistry?
Yep.
I don't know. And if you look back of the Eagles of Chip Kelly's days, and you look, they had all sorts of all-stars, and I don't even think they made the playoffs that year. Because even if you have a bunch of all-stars on your team, if they can't work together as a team, you're not going to win games. You're just not going to win games.
Yep. Just like the Lakers that one year where they added, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, and they had all these, kind of drama queens on one team. It didn't work out, and I think they missed the playoffs as well. Or I think they made it, but either way, they came up short of expectations. So, I think they're a little overrated. They look great on paper, but until they actually show up, we'll have to claim them overrated, honestly.
To the Browns' credit, though, Nick Chubb, I believe, had the best season for a rookie running back in the history of the NFL. And of course, they have all the right pieces at receiver with Landry, among others. And I think they will be a good team, but I think they are overrated at fifth best odds to win the Super Bowl, especially when you have so many other powerhouses in the NFL.
And I don't necessarily agree with you about Nick Chubb best rookie rushing season, because even if you look at last year, Saquon Barkley I could almost guarantee you Saquon Barkley had a better season. Nick Chubb had a great season, but now they have Kareem Hunt. What's Nick Chubb's role going to be? I don't know how they're going to balance that. It's also, the negative PR with bringing Kareem Hunt into your team might bring him down.
Yeah, that's a huge risk they took for that. But that was great points you made about both the running backs. Honestly, don't forget about Phillip Lindsay though. That's all I gotta say.
Phillip Lindsay is the man.
Yeah,
that is true. What I do want to point out, though, Baker Mayfield did have the most touchdowns ever by a rookie quarterback with 28. Hopefully, he can improve on that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to our next topic here. Can the Nuggets beat the Warriors in Golden State for the #1 spot in the Western Conference? We'll go to Sergio this time.
I love the Nuggets. I think they could do it. However, I think I'm going to be a realist. I don't know if they will win tonight, and they're just too young and inexperienced, but the future's bright, and we'll see what they're really made out of in the playoffs. But it's a tough task going in there and beating them, really, any team. But the last two games against them, they've really put the smackdown on us for sure. What do you guys think, honestly?
Yeah, the Nuggets, the last two times they did play the Warriors, they lost by double digits, including, I believe it was a 30-point loss earlier in the season to the Warriors. Also, in addition, between the other top two teams in the Western Conference, the Rockets and the Warriors, I think out of 6 matchups this season, The Nuggets have only won once. But, I think the Nuggets, they have a very well-rounded team with 6 players who score in double digits, averaging double digits per game. And I think that they have a chance, but I don't think they have a chance to beat them. Well, they have a chance, but I don't think it's going to happen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially tonight at home. The Warriors are at home. It'll be a tough task.
Yeah, and the Warriors are definitely vying for that #1 spot in the West. They want to have home court advantage all the way through the playoffs. The Western Conference top 8's already set, so they're trying to, the Western Conference is stacked, really. So the Warriors don't want to give up a game to the Nuggets, and I just think the Warriors have 5 All-Stars, and their starting 5 is all All-Stars, and it's just tough to say that the Nuggets, a young team, definitely a promising team, could go into Golden State and really beat the Warriors, who have been to the finals consecutively the past couple years, and they've really been dominant recently.
Indeed.
On the bright side for the Nuggets, they will probably have the refs on their side, considering how much the Warriors have been pissing them off
Yeah,
lately.
lately. That is true. That is true. So
Yeah,
get some Mile High magic.
It's Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green all got fined
Fine. Yeah.
$15,000+ for criticizing the refs the other day
Oh man.
after the game against the Timberwolves. So maybe if the refs up their game tonight, Nuggets have a chance. But
Yeah.
We'll see.
It should be an exciting game, nonetheless, for sure.
And if Nuggets can get more consistent point guard play from people like Jamal Murray and Gary Harris, and get the consistency they need to supplement the work of Jokic, then I think they can be a stronger force to contend with Houston and Golden State.
And Millsap's leadership and playoff experience will be pivotal. Will absolutely help them. So, I think he's a great leader, and I think he'll do a great job guiding them in the playoffs. And it should be exciting to see what they do, really.
And of course, I don't think Isaiah Thomas's leadership can hurt much. Who is, I believe, the only guy on the Nuggets who has been to the playoffs. Of course, he's not playing, but you take what you can get when you're in Denver.
Right.
And so then our next topic we're going to go to is, will Joe Flacco be a failure for the Denver Broncos this year? Matt?
Well, we all know that the Broncos have not had good luck with a quarterback the last few years. That's no secret. Even the last year with Peyton Manning was a struggle for the Broncos quarterback. And I'm going to say that the trend is going to continue, and Joe Flacco is not going to be the quarterback that Denver needs at Mile High. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that, Joe Flacco was going out with the Ravens. He was not doing great. He got benched for Lamar Jackson, who's a great quarterback, don't get me wrong. But I just think John Elway and the organization of the Broncos really needs to get a young quarterback in that could be the future of their organization. And I think, like John Elway, might have some questions to answer at the end of the season if Joe Flacco puts up another season that we've seen in the past season from Broncos quarterbacks like Case Keenum and like Brock Osweiler and of the sort. So I don't know that Joe Flacco is the quarterback that Denver needs. You would hope he has a good season, but I don't think the Broncos organization has been very good about picking their quarterbacks recently.
Also, for the record, I did tweet at John Elway before the draft last year, and I strongly recommended that we draft Lamar Jackson. Of course, he did not take that, but if he did, we could have, avoided all of this.
Yeah.
Had a great quarterback starting the team, and I think no matter what, Joe Flacco is going to be better than our previous options. I think nobody can deny that he's a better quarterback than Case Keenum, Trevor Siemian, Brock, or Paxton. So I think it's going to be an improvement for the Denver Broncos, and I think it will give them some much-needed leadership with a team that seems to be unraveling a little bit with some of the friction that's going on between player and player and player and management. So I think Joe Flacco, if anything, can provide those intangibles.
Yeah, I think, even though Joe Flacco's not the same one since that one Super Bowl run where he tore everyone's hearts apart, I think he's still, a pretty good quarterback, Super Bowl champion. Could probably help Denver, but I do go with Brian in that they should take time to develop a young quarterback, and just kind of embrace the rebuilding mode and not just try to rush something that probably won't work. Because you just can't keep signing mediocre quarterbacks, middle age, and expect them to take you to the Super Bowl. And Peyton was, that worked out for most of the part, and luckily we had a defense to carry him at the end. But I think it's just time to just select one young quarterback and then just move on forward. But hopefully Joe Flacco surprises us all and maybe, he makes an impact.
And I think, like you said, Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl MVP. And I think he does have that leadership skill that the Broncos need. Case Keenum, I don't think, provided that for the team. There was a lot of friction going on last year, like you mentioned. And I just think that Joe Flacco might be the leader that the team needs, but I don't think he's the player the team needs. They're going in a different, Philip Lindsay is one of the best young running backs in the league. So if they could get a quarterback to go along with Philip Lindsay, then they'd be in a good spot. But where they're at with Joe Flacco, I just don't think they are going to be a very good team this year. And I think in the draft, maybe they should pick up a quarterback for Joe Flacco to mentor. Quarterback doesn't have to be game ready, doesn't have to be ready to start a game in the NFL when he comes in. But they need to get somebody young in because Joe Flacco is not going to get any younger.
I think that's a great point that getting Joe Flacco does buy us some time, much needed time for us to draft a rookie quarterback and be able to put him into a role where we don't have to rush him into the starting position, and we can use time to develop him and get him to learn from a guy like Joe Flacco, who's been there, done that, won the Super Bowl, been through it all. And I think it is worth mentioning that Joe Flacco is at 34 years old, and Peyton Manning signed with the Broncos first time in 2013 when he was 35.
Peyton Manning. Joe Flacco is not Peyton Manning. Joe Flacco is not Peyton Manning. And to be fair, last season, Case Keenum didn't have an incredible year, but Case Keenum had the best year since Peyton Manning in 2014. So I think they're trying to get a quarterback in that has some leadership skills. They lost Demaryius Thomas last year, and Emmanuel Sanders went down with the Achilles injury. So last year was sort of just a rough year for the passing game. So with a healthy Emmanuel Sanders this year and a leader like Joe Flacco, I think they can improve, but I don't think Joe Flacco is going to be in Denver too long.
Well, I think will be important for the Broncos is Courtland Sutton being playing more of a role in this team. It'll be interesting to see if Joe Flacco can get Courtland Sutton to fulfill some of the expectations the Broncos had for him at the beginning of last season. So I think Sutton was a little bit of a disappointment to Denver for his rookie season, but I think with quarterback like Joe Flacco, he may be able to step it up. And I know I'm kind of reversing what I originally said, but that's what debates do to you.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we're going to hit our last topic for today. Was this season for Duke basketball a failure? Because they did not even make the Final Four.
Right, yeah, and I think this season was a failure for Duke. I think after the way they started the season, blowing out teams, playing the way that they played against teams like North Carolina, how they played against them in the ACC tournament, and you don't go to Duke to make it to the Elite Eight, and you don't go to Duke to not win a championship. Every expectation of Duke was to win a championship, and to not even make it to the Final Four, I think it's a huge disappointment for Duke, and it's a big disappointment for their fans and the best coach in college basketball, Coach K. And I think this one is going to sting for Duke for a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it is a failure just because, just the amount of hype and the amount of everyone's brackets basically just breaking, being broken. I think even though Zion had one of the craziest, probably the best, rookie year of all time, or at least ranks up there. And they saw players like R.J. Barrett, and they like you said, they came out blowing teams out, and to fall like just short, got a little lucky the last 2 rounds, and then luck finally ran out in this last one. I think like you said, it's gonna sting a little bit, and I think it's kind of a failure. But I mean, Zion's stock gonna be really any higher now unless he decides to. I mean, he's obviously gonna go out to the NBA. I feel like. But yeah, what do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think I definitely think it was a failure because, like you mentioned, R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, definitely 2 top 3 draft picks in the NBA draft this year, and for them to, skate by into the Elite Eight, not even make the Final Four, I definitely think it's a failure. They probably shouldn't have made it to the Sweet 16 because UCF missed a 1-footer to win the game. And, I don't know if it's just the team was too young, or I don't know if the team just felt they were too good. But they were definitely the most talented team this year. And to not even make it to the Final Four, and when they had heavy championship aspirations, they're the number 1 seed in the tournament. I think it's definitely a failure to see Zion leave, R.J. Barrett's going to leave, and next year what are they going to be left with to try to come back for a championship again?
Well, if anything, I don't think inexperience was the issue because any, Power 5 NCAA basketball team is going to be full of freshmen. Mm-hmm. But I think that is one of the things that makes this loss hurt so much for Duke, is that they had a guy like Zion, who is widely the most popular and biggest player in college basketball, and to fall at the Elite Eight, that hurts. And, you think you have the number 1 draft pick, and to just barely even get to the Elite Eight and not make it to the Final Four, it's tough for Duke. But at least they didn't fall, in the round of 16 or Sweet 16 like they have in previous years.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think that everyone would have had a lot of questions if they lost to UCF. Basketball is, it's a whole game. It's not just one play. It's not just UCF missing a 1-footer. There's plenty of plays that Duke could have made that they probably should have made, and that game wouldn't have been close. So if they had lost to UCF, or Virginia Tech in the Sweet 16, then I think there would have been a lot more questions brought up about the program. Coach K could get a lifetime contract easily. We just saw Calipari at Kentucky get a lifelong contract at Kentucky today, which is another point entirely. But Coach K is not going anywhere. But I think that when you have Zion and when you have somebody like R.J. Barrett, who are just superstars, you can't just fall in the Elite Eight somewhere where you probably shouldn't have been, and you can't say, well, we made it to the Elite Eight because that's not Duke. Duke is, we win championships, and that's why kids go there. And future commits might say, why would I want to go there if it's just an Elite Eight school and I could go somewhere like Kentucky or another school, Gonzaga. And those teams consistently make it to the Final Four.
Well, and I think one of the tough things about college basketball is the March Madness effect. Anyone can lose at any time. Virginia, who's in the Final Four this year, lost in the first round to a 16 seed, the first time that's ever happened. They lost in the first round, and now they're back in the Final Four. And so I think it's hard to discredit a program for a loss in March Madness. Like I said, the March Madness effect, it happens to everybody. It affects every team. And unfortunately for Duke, they were on the wrong side of it. But hopefully they can come back from it.
Yeah. So
Excited.
we'll have to see where they go next year. And yeah, any last remarks from you guys?
No, I think that's all. You guys hit everything on, honestly.
Go Texas Tech.
Go Nuggets. Go Nuggets. Hi, Mom.
And the Nuggets. Hopefully the Avalanche can get a playoff spot.
Yep,
They're
let's
in
go
the last wild
Avs.
card with 3 games left.
Yeah.
See if we can. I'm hoping this is going to be the first year we get all 4 Colorado teams into the playoffs.
Let's see it. Yeah, hopefully. When was the last time that even happened?
Right? I don't know if it's ever
I
happened.
don't think it's ever happened either, honestly.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I think the Broncos are definitely a big question mark there.
That is a
But,
huge question mark. We got the other 3 sports in a good place.
Pretty good spot, but
Hopefully Joe can lead us to the promised land.
yeah. So that's all for us on Crossing the Line. We'll see you next week.